Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode, and I've got a fantastic guest for you today, Lopaze Lasane, coming out from North Carolina, and he's going to talk to you all about his work. He is the host of the Love Can't Wait podcast, and he's going to talk about relationships and talk about his clients, and I'm really happy to have him on the show. So, Lopez, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. I know we got connected through Podmatch and kind of set the stage, talk about yourself, what you do. I know you help a lot of clients with their relationships and how you got there and how the audience can benefit from your expertise today.
Well, I actually got started. I started a YouTube channel like 2006, and what I used to do is just document my travels and the people that I would meet along the way. I would just, just going to resorts, having fun, just living my life, and my channel kind of took off. And at that time, I wasn't talking about, I wasn't really talking at all. I was just showing videos of me having fun, meeting people, and then probably a year or two later, I started getting a lot of questions. People want to know, hey, how'd you meet these people? Hey, how's this place? How's that place? How'd you, so once I started getting a lot of these questions, that's when I started to actually talk, and I started so what I started to do, I used to take the questions and respond to people within the video. And that kind of took off, and then people said, "Hey, I want to work with you one on one. I want to talk to you. Tell me about Thailand, tell me about Japan, tell me about basically any place that I've been." And it's it just kept going and going and going. And then back then, I didn't even have a website. I didn't have a website back then. And so I got a website, kept talking to more people, and then some people was like, hey, how do you meet women online? And then I said, hey, okay, I can show you how to do that too. And then I showed people how I met people online, because I met people from for my in my personal life, in for jobs, in my business life as well. So things just kind of took off, man. And I didn't plan any of it. I didn't want to do it. And I tell people that, and they're kind of surprised when I say that. I actually did not want to do videos and speak and talk to people in person. But what happened is, I have a lot of buddies that I used to, be in the military with, and they told me, man, just keep going, man. Don't stop, keep going. And so every time I guess get at a place where I'm not sure if I should do something, I always ask one of my close buddies, because we hung out back in the day together. So I would ask them, and they were like, "Yeah, keep doing it, man. Go ahead, man. Don't stop. If they want it, give it to them." So so up until this day, man, I'm just I show guys how to meet women online, man. So things kind of took off, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting this whole because there's a loneliness epidemic, and what's interesting is I've I've it's interesting how you're posting your expertise and then getting questions and basically becoming an influencer. So and I love that the books in the background. I'm gonna ask you about those because leaders are readers. So
Yeah.
um and so one question I have for you is this idea of just basic, like, people think you have to be like there's unhealthy and there's healthy relationships, and people think you have to be an athlete or a celebrity or you have to be like a Hugh Hefner. But talk about just basic relationship mechanics, why people struggle, what is this loneliness epidemic, and how you help clients.
Man, look, a lot of the funny thing is, in the beginning, And still to this day, a lot of entertainers follow me online. Like actually, here's something that somebody told me this. I didn't even realize it until after the fact. One of the main reasons why my YouTube channel took off early on is because of Drake, the rapper. They said Drake, and this is what somebody told me. I have no proof of this, but this is what I was told. He said Drake shared the link on his social media profile at the time, and some other rapper grabbed it and shared it, and that's how it took off. So I never really looked at it. Like I said in the beginning, I didn't really want to do this anyway. So I wasn't really thinking about if I have to be a celebrity or entertainer or famous or anything like that. Because in the beginning, those guys and gals, they weren't online. There wasn't no celebrities online. There wasn't no big brands online. They came later. So I think a lot of reasons why a lot of guys, I guess they feel lonely or I guess secluded is because they're trying to do everything on their own. And a lot of guys don't like to talk to other people because, they feel embarrassed or feel like they should know things that they don't know. But most things that we should know, if you want to say it that way, we have to be taught. I mean, if you don't know something, either you're gonna grab a book or go to a conference or call somebody, but you have to be taught. Somebody have to show you how to do it. But I mean, it's okay if you don't know, but it's not okay if you don't do something about it. So I think that's what it really boils down to at the end of the day.
Yeah. What's in so one thing is talking about is this idea of you know why do most relationships fail? Because there's like I heard the statistic. I think it's actually higher. They say 56%. I actually think it's 90%. At least you're gonna get married twice, if you get married at all.
Yeah.
And I was reading on Twitter, somebody was saying like marriage is dead. It doesn't make sense. Nobody's gonna get married anymore. So talk about why relationships fail.
I think like it goes back to what I just said. A lot of people just don't have the tools. They just don't know. They don't really know what it takes to get into a long-term relationship. They don't really know what it takes to make marriage work. Because a lot of us, unfortunately, we can't pick, we don't get to pick our parents. A lot of us didn't have the best role models growing up. And when our parents, well, depending on how old your parents was, but I had older parents. Like my mom had me when I was 41. So my parents were always older than the other kids. So, but I had good role models. I know a lot of kids that I grew up around, they didn't have the best role models. So a lot of times what we saw growing up, that's what we're going to emulate as we get older. And sometimes it's not the best advice or the best decision, but it's never too late. You can always learn. You just have to unlearn the stuff that you taught or the stuff that you saw growing up. More than likely, you'll be fine. But that's part of the reason why a lot of people's marriages fail because people just don't know.
I heard the top things that the couples fight about is money, finances, and then kids. And so when you say what's interesting is this idea when you say unlearn things that you're taught, like kind of what are things that are taught that are bad for you that cause you to fail in relationships? Like you have this interesting thing is one of the most important skills every man should have. What is that?
I'm not going to say a lot of stuff you learn from your parents is bad, but it's probably not the best. It's not probably not the best decision for you because they grew up in a different time, and plus, I mean, your dad is not dealing with the same women out here today that you're probably dealing with. So a lot of times, just like I told my dad this when he was here, rest in peace to him. I told him, I said, look, you're a better man than me. I mean, if I could be at least half the man that my dad is, I'll be happy with that. But I'm not the man that he is. I can't do everything. I can't put up with all the stuff he put up with or went through. I couldn't do it. I just don't have the mentally, I just can't do it, you know? It's not like I don't want to. I just can't do it because that's not me. And I ain't him either. And that's okay. So you have to figure out what's going to work for you and your relationships. And the good news is whatever that entails, there's somebody out there that's okay with it. It doesn't matter what I think or what you think or what anybody else think. There's somebody out there will say, "Hey, you know, you okay? Those are your morals, those are your values. Okay, that's okay with me. I can roll with that." You know? So there's no rules when it come to marriage. You can have y'all can do anything y'all want. Y'all adults. As long as y'all can, take responsibility and y'all not hurting anybody, it's fine. You just have to find somebody that that's okay with the type of relationship, type of marriage that you want. That's all.
Yeah. The other question I have for you is because I was reading because I think basically most of modern society we've domesticated domesticated men and just with especially with Me Too and women's empowerment, and it's in the past, like before the man had to hunt, he had to fight, he had to protect the family, and it was a matter of life and death. And these days we're here squabbling on Twitter and all this. So what is one of the most important skills every man should have, and the first step to become your best self and become the man you were born to be? Like what is that? I'm just curious to get some perspective.
I think every guy has to figure out who he is as a man, and you have to be able to live with that and stand with that. And like I said, you have to find somebody that works for you. Because look, I mean, there's a lot of women that say a lot of stuff online. Some of it's they just be saying it for attention. Some of it I take with a grain of salt. But as far as the Me Too people, that stuff, those are celebrities. That don't really got nothing to do with us, unless you're a celebrity. But I'm not a celebrity, so if you're not a celebrity, a lot of that stuff don't really have anything to do with you. They're
Yeah.
just trying to, they're just trying to get some money, and that's okay. If I mean, God bless them. But if you're not rich and famous, you don't really have to worry about that stuff. I mean, that's just being honest. I mean, if you ain't rich and famous, or you don't got a big bank account, you don't really have to worry about getting Me Too. I mean, what's it going to take from you? I mean, that's just being honest. So I don't really pay attention to a lot of the Me Too stuff. I just try to focus on being the best person I can be, and this is why I tell other guys, I mean, if you ain't rich, just like when it comes to marriage, a lot of people will say, well, you know, marriage ain't worth it. Well, it just depends on the guy. They say, well, it's risky. It depends on the guy. If you're a rich dude, maybe you're rich and famous or both or whatever. Yeah, but if you ain't rich, it ain't got nothing to do with you. If you work a 9 to 5 job making 40, 50,000, come on, man, you really don't have nothing to lose. You know. Now, if you come into some money later on, okay, that's a different story. But if you working 9 to 5 job right now, making 40, 50,000, they're not really talking to you. So a lot of stuff online is it's a lot of hype. It's a lot of people that just saying things to get clickbait. I don't really pay much of attention.
Yeah. Yeah. The other question is, there's this basically there's this there like I was talking to another podcast guest, and he was talking about toxic masculinity, where he had to be like basically and I was listening to another podcast. It was really interesting about the sexual revolution, and she was saying like basically there's this toxic stereotype, like you have to be a playboy or a jerk, kind of just narcissist, these things. And then, what was interesting was we were just talking about is like, in the past, like you had to go through a rite of passage to be a man.
Mhm.
And these days, there's not really any of that type of stuff. So we have like things like fraternities and just kind of artificial men or boys. And then you have this idea of what is the number one thing that nice guys do to turn away women? Is it authenticity? Is it sleaziness? Is it lack of boundaries? To just elaborate on that.
I think a lot of guys, well, I guess so-called nice guys, if you want to call them that, I think they think that they have to be somebody else in order to talk to a woman, and that's a mistake. They think that, well, that they're not enough, and if you come into the relationship like that, well, the woman is gonna be like, oh, okay, she's gonna pick up on it, and she's gonna be like, okay, he ain't who he is, so okay, I can act like I'm somebody else too. And that's how the relationship starts off, and that's how it's not going to end well if it starts off like that, because women by nature, they follow the leadership of men. So you as the man, you have to set the tone. I mean, so if you come in, you're not being who you are, or maybe you don't know who you are, and then, but let's assume as time go on, you figure it out, and you figure out who you are and who you want to become. And now you done switched up now. So now that's even more confusion. So it's kind of like, if that relationship is going to survive, y'all have to start all over again. Not physically, but just mentally and socially and psychologically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because now that you found yourself, and this might be 2, 5, 10 years later, who knows? But now y'all have to kind of start all over again, like kind of strip down and get real and say what's really on your mind, and she say what's really on your mind. And a lot of times when that happens, a lot of people don't like it. And that's when the relationship ends.
Yeah. It's quite interesting, just from initial meet to like dating to like relationship to marriage is like all you put out. It's like almost like this. You put up all these like fronts and just
Yeah.
pretending this be somebody. And like if you're not emotionally mature or if you're not aware of this, that's why like a lot of relationships fail is because you don't really know yourself. And so, but you know, uh, you know this subject of relationships is really interesting and like females, like if you're not masculine enough then she can't be feminine and so she can't trust, basically she can't be in her feminine energy. So I'm really interested the books in your background, I'm always interested in what other people are reading. So what are your top books from your library, and how can I might check them out myself.
I don't know if I have like top books, but I would say most of my books is on you know psychology, sales and online marketing. I would say in personal development. That's what most of my books are on. I don't really have no favorites. Well, if I had a favorite, I would say it's The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. And
Uh-huh.
that's one of my favorites, if I had to pick a favorite. But for the most part, man, I just anything that's on marketing, sales, and trying to make more money. That's where my focus has been as far as the books go. And most of these books I got like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I love that. I love how you're investing in yourself. You seem that you're obviously very intelligent and able to put things together. And yeah, it's quite interesting because this from basically when you're in this area of relationships, you're basically selling yourself. In business, you're selling a product or a service. So I love that. How can people find you and reach out to you and follow you and check out your work?
Probably the easiest way is to go to online dating for dummies. That's probably the easiest way. That's probably the easiest. Yeah, that's probably the easiest way to find me. And you can also follow me on Instagram. as
Yeah.
well. It's my it's actually my first name. It's Lopaze L on Instagram. And
Yeah.
just send me a DM. That's probably the easiest way.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
love that. And I really enjoyed this conversation, and I really enjoy your approach and how you and for all the audience, be sure to give Lopez socials a like and follow, check out his work, and thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much for having